Welcome to the first direct arena here in Leeds for a Wheelchair Rugby League Clash of the Titans. It's England versus France. Now, 12 months ago, this brilliantly talented England team defeated France to become the world champions. That match, that victory, absolutely changed the game. An increase in participation across the nation. And if today's match is anything like last year's World Cup denouement, well, you're in for a belter.
Ranked #1 in the world. England ranked #2.
We're a very good side, very strong, very physical, and we know what we have to do to stop them.
You have said a few times that England are the favourites.
Oui, oui, je le crois.
It is clear that this country has fallen in love with this sport.
You're about to see some of the best rugby league players on the planet. Alassani's in, France lead. Halliwell ducks underneath. England are on the board. Quick play of the ball. Brown somehow collects it. Oh my word! Official on the near side is saying no. How is that not a try? Here goes Brown. He won't be denied this time.
Go and take it.
England are in front. Try. Instant response. This game is boiling over. Ducks under. Tom Halliwell. The England captain. England are the World Cup champions. What a moment. What a moment. Not only for England, but for wheelchair sport around the world.
What a moment, what a night. A 28-24 victory in Manchester that we will never forget. And almost a year on, well, we'll certainly remember the atmosphere of that night, particularly because I think we're in for an absolute treat here tonight. The music is blaring, the crowds are arriving. We're about half an hour away from the start. And look, we're back. We've got the band back together. World Cup winner, James Simpson. Freya, Levy, a member of the England squad, and of course Martin Norris, the World Cup winning captain from back in 2008. James, we'll start with yourself, and we'll start by looking back. It's a year ago that you have been a world champion for. Tell me, how are you feeling?
Yeah, it's absolutely flown, to be honest, but that World Cup, that 4,500 people crammed into that place, watching it live on BBC at home, it has absolutely changed the landscape of Wheelchair Rugby League.
It's fantastic to be a part of. The difference in the sport, the participation rates, and the coverage has been incredible, and it's only going to lead to bigger and better things for the sport.
I really recommend you look at that, the rivalry between these two teams, particularly right now, because France kind of object to the way that England are playing, saying it's a little bit too aggressive. What's your feeling on that?
So yeah, the French will most certainly be hurting. You know, they were back-to-back world champions, so you don't win 2 World Cups if you're not one of the best teams in the world.
You look at the starting 5 there, and you've got Tom Halliwell and Joe Coyd out there. They're essentially your half-backs. They'll be dictating the play. They'll be guiding the players around the field. Tom is known for his ball handling. You know, he'll pick gaps, he'll put players through. You've got Seb in the middle. Seb changed his game last year, and now he's a big ball carrier. You know, he can hit gaps, he can create things, but he will take that ball in and get chaos ready for people to play off the back of him. Rob, Lewis, 2 fantastic out-and-out wingers. Consecutive Player of the Year awards. Rob won it 2 years ago, Lewis won it this year, the inaugural Wheel of Steel. 2 fantastic athletes, and you look at that bench and there, it's just solely impact players. Jack Brown, the Jack Brown, who could do magical things. Nathan Collins, to me, one of the best players in the world. He can come on and create chaos. The silent assassin, some people call him, because he comes out of nowhere. And the young Josh Butler, you know, this is a big day for him. He's aiming for the 26 World Cup. He wants to be in that squad in 26.
Obviously, we've got, within the French squad, you've got 6 out of the 8 who played in the 21 World Cup. Obviously, Jeremy Borson starting. Joe Regis for Catalan Dragons and Halifax. So obviously, we see him over here in the UK during the Super League. He's one of the fastest players in the world, uses that huge wingspan, both in attack and defence. And Lionel Alazard, who's played in 3 World Cup finals in a row. Scored the opening try in the World Cup final back in 2022 last year, and holds a points record for 50 points in a game. But watch out for his kicking game for Jeremy.
Well, merci, Martin. So that's the France lineup. Let's hear the thoughts of their head coach, Sylvain Krsmanovic, and he's been talking to Dave Woods.
Bonjour, ça va? How much is today about payback after what happened in the final last year?
Yeah, well, as part of the preparations for this squad, the England team were invited over to the Football Association to train at the National Centre over at St George's Park. And while they were there, they caught up with one of the first ever Wheels of Steel winner, the World Cup World Cup final try scorer, Lewis King. Brilliant stuff from Lewis there. Well, the band has stepped out. It's just a duet, me and Tom Coyd, the England manager, the mastermind behind that World Cup triumph. 1 year on, how are you feeling?
I'm having the time of my life, I truly am.
We've said a lot about the terms of classification, disability, but some of you at home might just be thinking, what are the rules, the basic rules of this sport? So why don't we get you caught up on that? And it's James, along with his World Cup winning teammates here. Well, the scene is set. It's here for the first direct arena in Leeds for a repeat of last year's World Cup final. It's the world champions England against France. And Dave Woods, the Rugby League correspondent, can talk us through it all.
Thank you, JJ. This is going to be special. It is already special. Wait for this entry and atmosphere. Fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. It is a rivalry unsurpassable. One of sport's great stories. And another chapter, another twist today. The world champions against the dethroned world champions. But today it is also about differences. This is the way they're starting, England. All five who start, Hawkins, Coyd, Bashara, King and Captain Halliwell, were all on duty for that World Cup final win in Manchester just under a year ago. Collins, Brown and Butler is the new face in terms of England old and England new. He missed out on the World Cup last year, but he's back today. And the French, Florian Gutadoro, has taken over the captaincy because Gilles Clausel has retired, or at least we thought he had until literally a couple of hours ago. He figures today, the 60-year-old, as 9th player. And if any player gets injured today and an independent medical assessment says they can't continue, then Gilles Clausel will come onto the pitch. James Simpson alongside James Simpson, MBE, I should say, World Cup winner 12 months ago. What are we expecting here today?
Well, you've got the two best teams here in Wheelchair Rugby League. You know, Wheelchair Rugby League wouldn't be where it is now if it wasn't for the likes of France creating the sport, making the first laws of the game, and what we do over here with the English way of doing things has just grown the sport to a whole new level.
Prepares to get us underway. A moment's silence, get ready for noise and impact and energy. It's going to be England who get first touch of the ball, and it's an awkward bouncing ball, and Bashara is rather smashed in that. I think intent has been laid there, James.
Yes, there's definitely a push in there. That is a fair penalty. You can see the arm stretched out, not even going for the tag, just a bit of a shift. So, yeah, first. Sorry, we nearly got taken out.
We nearly got that ball in our faces there,
That's Wheelchair
James.
Rugby League for you,
That
right
is
in the action.
Half-time. It's England 12, France 30, and all to come.
Well, what I would do to be a fly on the wall in that England dressing room, but I'm very grateful I'm not a player in that dressing room. There's going to be some stern words said there. And Freya, I mean, it really just starts with the errors, perhaps. It arguably a great start for England and a great finish, but the bit between it for about 30 or so minutes, not the plan.
Absolutely, and, you know, Tom Coyd's known for saying, you know, the most important set is that set after you have just scored. And that's maybe what England are losing their heads a little bit on there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, obviously a 22-point difference in, an 18-point difference in Wheelchair Rugby League is not massive. You know, it's 3 tries and you can score that in a few minutes. What worries me is England not just sticking to their process.
Here's a little reminder of some of the other sports that's going on this weekend across the BBC. When we leave here, actually, at 5:15 on BBC Two, we'll be going over to BBC iPlayer and the BBC Sports website and app for more reaction to this match, but also just a look at the whole autumn series, and we'd love for you to join us for that. And right now on BBC iPlayer, as we said a couple of times, you can watch the Storyville Made of Steel documentary. It gets right under the skin of this fierce and intense rivalry which you're seeing in real time between England and France. There's amazing behind the scenes access from last year's World Cup, and a powerful look back at some of the stories from the key players. And to be honest, it's just a lovely piece of nostalgia for us guys. I've got to say, what a wonderful summer that was. Don't miss it, it's absolutely sensational, so you can catch that anytime on iPlayer and on the website. It's also a busy weekend in football, and following us here on BBC One at 5:15, BBC Two, sorry, on 5:15, we have live FA Cup first round. It's a match between League One Charlton and their nearby neighbours, Cray Valley Paper Mill of the 8th tier. Can those part-timers pull off one of the shocks of the season? Wouldn't it be great to see? And then at 11:30 tonight on BBC Two, there's highlights of all of the days for the first day of the FA Cup action, and that's before 10:30 on BBC One. It's Match of the Day 2, with all the best bits of the afternoon's 2 Premier League games and all the analysis from yesterday as well. Right, as he said, it's probably even better in terms of the atmosphere, perhaps not in terms of the scoreline. A lot to do for England in this second half. Make sure you join us. Let's get out there. Dave Wood and James Simpson.
So full time, England 34, France 43. It's one back for the French.
C'était un match très difficile, avec beaucoup d'engagement. On s'était donné une mission, c'était le gagner en fait, et d'être dur et taper fort comme les Anglais savent le faire. Je pense qu'on a rempli la mission ce soir, et voilà. Maintenant la prochaine étape, ça sera Marseille.
The aim today was to win the game because we will restart a cycle. The World Cup is over. We are going to work for the next World Cup. So it was a hard game. We knew that in advance. We've done the job.
But for now, it's time for the French team to get their trophy. So let's get back out to Dave Woods to talk us through the ceremony.
Of emotion, and everything's settling down a little here, and circles back to his teammates. Careful not to drop it, Florian. Here we go, here we go. So the World Cup final, a distant memory for this group of French players now. They lift that trophy to make their mark at the beginning of a new World Cup cycle.
Tom Halliwell, the captain, tell me how you're feeling right now, personally, but also as a team.
Yeah, gutted, absolutely gutted. Obviously, every time you put on the England jersey and the England badge, you want to do well, you want to win, and yeah, that's not to be. But as a group, we can be proud of that second half. We came out, and we just left it all out there really in the second half.
It's now time to go and catch up with the French head coach, and he's with Dave Woods.
Yes, man, Chris Vanovich is here now. We've got Robert Fasselet as well, who's holding very proudly the trophy that's named after him. He's got to do the interpretation for us today. First of all, Sylvain, congratulations. How sweet does that feel?
Well, Seb's joined us in the studio, and he's going to be sticking with us because we're heading over to iPlayer very shortly for more analysis and a bit more chat about this whole autumn series. Seb, you're a man that wears his heart on his sleeve. How are you feeling right now?
A lot of different emotions are going through my mind, but obviously I'm very excited for Wheelchair Rugby League. It's a really exciting time, isn't it? A big crowd turn up, and it's really good to see that.
Well, it was a great game. Stick with us. It's been a great series as well. 3 victories for the men, 1 for the women as well, but just a little bit short today. Make sure you join us over on the iPlayer. Thanks for joining us here on BBC Two. We are indeed. Hello and welcome back to Rugby League Extra here in Leeds, just at the end of a great test match in the Wheelchair Rugby League. England, unfortunately, not quite the day they'd hoped for, 34-43, but all credit to France. They were absolutely phenomenal today. Seb Bashara is with us, as well as Martin Norris, the the captain from 2008 in the World Cup winning team, as well as squad member Freya Levy. Tom Coyd has joined us as well. Tom, how are you feeling at this point? I know you know you will have a lot to say to your team, I'm sure.
Well, the trouble with it is whatever I say probably would just bounce off their ears at the minute, but it's important that we collect ourselves, really.
Let's get over to Dave Woods with some, he's got Jodie Cunningham and a little more analysis from the whole Autumn Test series.
Yeah, it's been 3 fantastic games, hasn't it, this weekend? 3-game series for England's men against Tonga, which they won 3-0. England's women, captained by Jodie impressively yesterday, had a very good win against the Welsh. And then, of course, this today, which didn't see an England win, but very entertaining. I know you're a big fan of Wheelchair Rugby League. How much did you enjoy that today?
Yeah, it was brilliant. Me and a few of the girls stayed over last night and we've come to support the lads today. You know, it's unfortunate they didn't get the win, but I thought it was a fantastic game and hopefully lots more people falling in love with the wheelchair game.
Yeah, there certainly is. Thank you very much, Jodie. Thank you, Dave. James Simpson has jumped into the you actually stumbled in, for being completely honest, into the studio. We heard you on commentary there throughout of it, giving a very honest appraisal, particularly towards the back end. Your thoughts now? That's it. You can see that they're packing up behind us. There's actually a sign over there that says, with the last one out, please turn out the lights. And by the looks of stuff, that's probably going to be us. But thank you so much for joining us, not just on BBC Two, but here on iPlayer, of course. Big thank you to Freya, to Martin, and to James, and of course to Jodie and Dave as well. It's been a phenomenal day, of course, but it's been a great Autumn International series. So make sure you keep joining us and enjoying lots of lovely rugby league on the BBC.